Here we have a few different sharpening tools, basic sharpening tools. We have a basic two-sided bench stone. I got this one at an antique shop for $1. There's a groove worn in the middle on the coarse side, but it's still perfectly usable. This is a soft Arkansas stone that I dropped and broke it in half. These are the two halves, and so now it's just a couple of pocket stones. Here's a small basic pocket stone, the same material as this one. I keep it in this little cardboard sheath so that it doesn't scratch up my pocket or my bag or whatever I keep it in. Sharpening with a stone is pretty basic. When you have a stone on a desk, it's pretty easy to slide around, so I just took two pieces of a mouse pad and glued them together, and that gives the pad a little more friction, the stone rather. And this is the knife that I'm going to demonstrate sharpening to you on. When I take it against this piece of paper, you see that it doesn't really cut that well. It's a little bit flat right here on this part. You can see it here, probably not on the camera. Also, it passes the fingernail test here, but not here. And at the very tip it passes. The fingernail test is a good way to test sharpness, as opposed to doing this, because this can change a lot depending on how damp your finger pads are and the moisture content of the air, whereas this one's pretty consistent because your nails don't really change that much. So I'm going to start on the coarse side to make the process a little quicker. You can start on the fine side if you like. Now, since this stone has a groove in it, I'm just going to move the blade along. I'm using a decent amount of pressure, and this hand doesn't really do that much. It just kind of holds it down and pushes it forward at the same time. Just makes the strokes a little bit more consistent. What we're doing here is we're setting the angle, bevel, which isn't really all that important since we're going to be convexing this later on. And even for a basic edge, you don't really need to be that precise. You just want to get metal off of the blade so that both sides meet to create an edge. Now when I look under the light, hold it up to the light, I can see that I'm starting to get a burr here and here, so I need to do a little bit more. Now I see that I'm getting a burr along pretty much the whole edge, and at this point it's probably not going to do much better at the... Okay, it's doing a little bit better. It's still not fabulous. Now you can, if you move your finger like this, forward across the edge, on a coarse stone like this, you can feel the burr. I can feel it pretty heavily here. Still not feeling a burr here, so I'm going to go at a little bit of a higher angle, because I really want to get that burr. Once I have the burr raised, I can thin out the edge some more. I can reduce that angle. But to begin with, I just want to even out the edge and get a burr. Now I can feel a burr along the whole edge, and it's hard to see, but if you hold it like this, sometimes you can see it in the light. But it's you can feel it. And for paper slicing, it goes better now along the whole edge. It's not passing the fingernail test because this is very coarse grit and the burr is pretty heavy, so the edge isn't going to stick. Now I just kind of dust off the stone. And this stone was used with oil originally, but I don't use anything on it. This is the fine side. Basically, I'm doing the same thing. I'm just polishing the edge, making it a little bit finer. again, the angle is not really that important. You don't really need to be that consistent. What we're going to end up here with is a slightly convex edge. And I can feel a burr along the whole length. I can see it more than I can feel it in the light here. Doing much better on the paper. Now, after the fine side of this stone, I have two options. I can go to this stone because this is a pretty fine stone and it's slicked up some too and needs a cleaning. Or I can just go straight to my strop, which I have here. A piece of leather glued to a 2x4 with compound on it. This is just Tripoli polishing compound. I paid $6 for a stick of it. And this is what's left of the stick. I use this all the time, and one stick will probably last you just about forever unless you're using it a really, really large amount. Both of these will polish the edge finer. The strop really won't polish it that much. The strop is mainly just for removing that burr to give you a wicked sharp edge. The Arkansas stone will polish the edge some. So this I'm going to do at a higher angle and move in small circles. I just want to give it sort of a micro bevel. And off of that, let's see how it does. Slicing paper. Much better already. And now, from the strop, I'm just going to do a few passes, not too much pressure, but pushing down some, and my compound is sort of peeling off here, but that doesn't really matter because the compound is actually rubbed into the leather. You can see underneath the leather is kind of gray looking. So I'm just going to do some passes here, and again the angle is not really important because it's a convex edge that we're creating in the long run here. And you just want to make sure that you do several passes so that you get rid of the burr, and this will slightly, ever so slightly, polish the edge. And I just wipe off the compound, you can see there, because the compound rubs off onto the blade. And then from there we should have a crazy sharp edge, and this edge should also shave hair. Yep, there you go. So that's about it for basic sharpening.